Hi everyone, welcome to Life of a Alien. I am a Xenial alien living in the US and I have a goal to fire. Welcome to my first ever budget with me for August. So first up, I like to explain my budget. I categorize my budgets based on the values that those categories bring to me. So for example, there's the fun money, there's personal development. This is for like gym or anything that furthers my careers or hobbies. Variable living expenses, fixed living expenses, credit cards, and I also pull out certain category groups that I want to keep an eye on. So, for example, food, even though this is actually just living expenses, I have it as its own category because I've been grossly overspending on it and I just want to keep an eye on it. And because I just want to track things to the minutiae. For example, for beauty, I have many categories in that group just because I don't know what's an appropriate amount to assign to a beauty category. So I'm hoping to track it for a year and understand what I'm spending on for beauty categories, and hopefully I can condense that into two or maybe even just one beauty category. And finally, for car maintenance should be a true expense, and like insurance and AA should just be fixed living expenses. But I just have car as its own category group because I like to have categories that act as reminders for things that I need to do. So, for example, inspection, registration, or even oil changes, new tires. Just having it there keeps reminding me that I need to get it done sometime. I also use emojis in my budget. There's three columns of emojis. The first column is whether or not I can roll with the punches from that category. If it's a green check mark, I'm free to roll with the punches whenever. If it's a question mark, I should think about it before I roll with the punches. If it's an exclamation mark, I should try really hard not to roll with the punches from this category, but I can if absolutely necessary. And if it's a red cross, then I can't roll with the punches from that category at all. And usually that's for fixed bills that I have to pay no matter what. The second column of emojis basically tells me if it's a monthly expense or a less frequent expense. So this blue circular arrow tells me it's a monthly expense I have to spend from the category monthly, and this calendar emoji tells me that it's a less frequent expense. So for Spotify, I only paid once every 6 months, and that's why it's a calendar. The third columns of emoji tells me that it's a fixed expense in terms of the frequency that I have to pay it. So it's usually for things like subscriptions or like any classes that I take. I have to pay that amount every uh, month on a fixed date, or every 6 months on a fixed date. If there's a key in the lock, it means I'm free to get out of it. So I have to pay Spotify every 6 months, but I can just easily cancel Spotify if I don't want it anymore. If there's a pen on the lock, it means that the amount is not actually fixed, even though the time frame is fixed. I believe only electric has that because obviously that depends on how much I use. Alright, so let's go on with the budget with me. The first thing that I usually do is reconcile my accounts and um, pay off all my credit cards, and I just did that. Um, and I should also reconcile my tracking accounts, but I just don't do that frequently. I do like looking at the net worth graph, but it's not that important to me because my tracking accounts are what it is. If it goes up in value or if it goes down. Next thing is I would like to review my spending for this month. So for this month, I spend a little bit more money than I usually do. Um, I spent a lot on food the past few months. So that's something that I should cut down on. Um, and this month I also spent some money from my sinking fund because I had to pay car insurance, and I just spent a lot on beauty because there was just a lot of money in there, and it was time to get some beauty things done. Overall, it's not too bad of a month. I think that I could definitely have been more frugal for the beauty category. Even though the money was there for me to spend, I should be more mindful about it. Alright, now let's get on with budgeting for August. So, I budget a month in ahead, um, and I just usually just take this out from next month's money and move it all to ready to assign and budget. So this is the first time I'm gonna just budget all the month. Ooh, and I still have $35 left. So a few things that I do want to look at. So as I said, I've been grossly overspending on food. Really, this should be 450. So I'm gonna put that to 350 and assign that. All right. So as I said, I've been grossly overspending on food. So I just don't want to be spending more than 450. I have done that in the past before. If you look at my reports, um, for food, I have spent, below 450 before, or at least around there. Not crazy like these few months have been. So I know that it's definitely possible for me. So because of that, I don't actually want to increase my food budget. I just want to be more mindful for it. So I'm actually gonna create a new category group and strategize my spending. So I have 350. I'm just gonna assign this back to the next month's money for now and move this up to ready to assign. Alright, so I usually get most Mondays for dining out, um, and that's obviously every Monday. I'm just gonna create $10 weekly on Monday. It usually fluctuates between $8 and $13 depending on if I get queso, if I get a drink. But I'm gonna try to be more mindful, so I'm gonna say, $10 per most Monday. Also for this date night food, so my boyfriend and I usually like have a date night every weekend, and it usually comes out to about 20 plus dollars per month. We order Uber Eats for each other. We're long distance, so we can actually meet. And usually comes out to a little bit more than 20, but because I have $15 of Uber Eats credit from my platinum card, I'm just gonna say 20, and then that extra $15 will cover the remaining. So that's also a weekly target, and that's on Sundays. So I'm gonna fund these. That's 150. Um, okay, so then I wanna create a category for each week. And forget week 5. So $300 left. And that's for about 21 days. So about $14 per day. So that's about 70 per week. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fund 70 each week. And I have $20 left. Just gonna put $13 for the last week because that's only one day, and the extra $7 I'm just gonna put it in a holding category. Oh, not a category group. Oops. So 77. Oh, another thing, I usually do get drinks. So this is like coffee. Usually for me bubble tea because I don't get coffee out, and that's usually about $6 every time I get it, and let's say I get it once a week. So I do wanna create that 6 Sunday. Let's say I get it on Wednesdays. I don't get it every week, but I'm just gonna pretend that I do. So I actually need more money. I'm gonna just assign 65 for each week and fund this 24. So additional $3. I'm just gonna put it into week 5, so I don't actually need this holding category. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. So I'm gonna move this date night food down. I don't actually plan to spend from this food holding category. I think my strategy is whenever the week comes, I'm just gonna move this money down to um, the right category to spend from. Actually, I'm gonna actually, yeah, so I'll just move it down to, groceries. And if I dine out, I'll just move from groceries to dining out. The reason is that I don't really care whether I dine out or eat in. Like, I know buying groceries should be cheaper, but that doesn't always work out to be the case for me. And I'm still trying to figure out why, and I'm still trying to, have better strategies to meal plan. While I'm very flexible with my cooking, I tend to ov- overestimate the amount of food I need for each meal. So every time I go grocery shopping, I just end up with like way more food than necessary, and that's something that I need to be more mindful of. Um, Even though I don't usually waste the food, I just end up having a lot more than I need. I'm gonna delete the targets for this since I'm trying this new strategy. I don't actually need these target amounts so that they don't remain underfunded when I turn on the pacing bars. Alright, next thing um, that I do want to do for this month, well, I'm gonna move this up to ready to assign again. And for this credit card annual fee, I was actually thinking about canceling this Ritz-Carlton card. I think that I really only need one premier credit card at a time, and the Ritz-Carlton card is kind of losing value, so I don't want that anymore. I'm gonna move that up to ready to assign and hide this category. And for this, I think I would also downgrade to a free card when the time comes around. I really don't need that anymore, so I'm gonna move that up to ready to assign. And oh, I should delete the target for this. Hide that category as well. I need to delete the target for this as well before hiding that category. I don't want to delete those categories because things might change. I don't know what's gonna happen, and in the future, I might have um, annual fees for those cards if I upgrade it back or whatever. So I'm just gonna hide it for now. I'm gonna spring clean my hidden categories like once every quarter or something like that. So because this is the only thing in its category, I'm just gonna move this up to true expenses. Not sure if it should go into true expenses or fixed living expenses. Because my true expense category is not for any bills, as you can see. Like, these are just kind of sinking funds for things that might come up, but they're not any bills. So actually, I'm just gonna move that up to fixed living expenses. Um, yes. So now I do have additional money to assign. Woohoo! That's always nice. This emergency fund, I initially had a goal of 6,000, but I actually think that 6,000 is a little slim. I based that off of 3 months of expenses, 2,000 per month, and I did that because as an alien, I can only stay in the United States for 3 months if I lose my job, and then I have to go home. But then I realized that I might incur some moving expenses if I have to leave, on top of having to, pay for my living expenses while I'm here and I'm unemployed. So I'm actually gonna up this target to 10,000, and I'm gonna say by April. Ooh, what happened? 1,000 monthly savings balance by April of next year. So that means next month I would have to fund 500. Oh, that's actually a little bit too much. So let's just say 9,000. month I would have to fund 375. That's a little bit much, but I think that I could make it work now that I don't have those credit card categories. So yeah, the underfunded is less than $5,000, and I do actually make about 5,300 in take-home pay per month. Note that I don't contribute to a 401k or HSA or anything like that because again, I'm a non-resident alien and I don't know how long I'll get to be in the United States. So with this $386, I am going to put it into my emergency fund, about half of it, let's say 150. And I'm also going to fund my wish farm. So I was thinking about getting new headphones. You can see I write here what I want. Um, this actually has the wrong goal. This should be 100. Problem with Wish Farm is that I always think for a really long time before I actually buy anything from them, and then I ended up just, withdrawing all my Wish Farm money and putting it into investments for many times because I'm just not really fond of accumulating a lot of items, but definitely want to get the headphones, so I'm gonna put $80 into it to get the headphones, and um, do have 156. I'm just gonna put it in here because I don't know what I want to do with it. So this pay raise holdings, I created this category when I had a raise, and I just wanted to give myself a small amount of breathing space each month, so like a little bit of lifestyle inflation, but I didn't know exactly which categories to go in. I did increase my gifts category by $10 and my clothes, or rather beauty category, by $10, and then I put $100 into here. But mostly for my pay raise, I actually increased my investment amount, so I try to invest about 50% of my income. It's actually a little, sorry, invest and save in my emergency fund 50% of my income. It comes out to a little bit more than that, but that's better. More is better. Yeah, so that's it. So the last thing, usually in the note sections, I just put what credit cards I'm supposed to be spending from for what stores. But I also want to try a new strategy of putting a goal. So goal for this month is to stay in food budget, and the action, like how I'm gonna do that, is to be more mindful. So I'm gonna say one, look at prices in grocery store. So I often don't have any idea of like how much I'm paying for any items in the grocery store because I don't look at the prices before I pick up an item that I want. And that's actually a really bad habit, and then I just go to the checkout and be really surprised. And sometimes items can vary a lot in price. For example, eggs could be $1 or it could be like $6, $7, and I often don't look at it before I take it. And so for me, buying similar things have such big price disparities because I'm not looking at the prices. So that's something that I want to do. And secondly, I want to meal plan and shop twice a week. So I say twice a week because earlier I mentioned that I often over buy food because I don't understand how many portions each thing I buy. So I think buying twice a week instead of once a week would work out better for me. Alright, so that's it. Thanks for budgeting with me, and I look forward to seeing you next month.